no one really prepares you for what happens after a World Cup.
Hello and welcome to the Rebalance Earth podcast. I'm Kirsty Willman, COO at Rebalance Earth, and today I am joined by someone who has really shown what you can do leading a team. I am joined today by the England attack coach, Lou Meadows, who took them to winning gold at the Rugby World Cup, and she is now attack coach for USA Eagles. Is that right?
That's correct.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us, Lou.
Thank you for having me.
I am very excited to have you here today. Can we start with how did you become the attack coach for the Red Roses?
It's a very good question because sometimes I have to reflect on my own journey to how I actually got there.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting one because I never played at the top end of the game. So I've never been capped by England as a player, but I did play in the equivalent of the PWR, which was the Premiership, the Women's Premiership at the time for Saracens and Wasps.
Mm-hmm.
But whilst I was playing, I had a couple of injuries that led me to the sidelines and I started taking up coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I just found that I was actually quite good at understanding the tactical side of the game, but also how to bring the best out of people. So through doing coaching opportunities that were voluntarily given to me occasionally, I think because I was just willing to be there.
Yeah.
I actually then started to build up a bit of a reputation of being pretty good at it. I acquired my level 4. I was one of only 4 females on that coaching course, which was brilliant.
Amazing.
And from that, I actually started to get paid opportunities, but predominantly in the men's game, because with the men's game having been professional for longer, there's more paid opportunities for coaching roles in that side of the game. So I actually worked with clubs like London Scottish. I did some pathway development roles with like Saracens, Northampton Saints, etc. And then I actually coached in the men's pathway with England counties. And that's where I became the first female to coach a men's national side, which was brilliant. Really exciting, numerous challenges that come with going to countries such as Romania and Georgia with a team as a female coach.
Yeah.
And then actually COVID came when I was doing that alongside a teaching job. So actually coaching opportunities kind of shut down, as did most of the world. But I actually found a job at Ealing that led me into more the off-pitch side of development for players, but again, working within a men's space. It was a full-time coaching gig, as well as off-field development. And I just wanted to be back in rugby as well as teaching. And I could actually leave teaching to do this. It was paid enough that I could do it as my full-time job.
Yeah.
Which is really important when you have got 2 kiddos to look after.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. So I started working with them, with the men's team. Then they wanted to grow a women's team. And having worked with the Rugby Football Union before around player development, club development and coach development, I knew how to help structure a pathway and a system for a women's program. So I supported the club in doing that. And then an opportunity for the England under-20s women came to my door, shall we say, via word of mouth.
Yeah.
And someone said, look, it'd be great to get you back into full-time coaching role, but let's get you back into the women's game.
Yeah.
And I thought, do you know what? Why not? Like, I'd love to do it. My kids were of an age where I thought it could work actually quite well alongside it, because the tournament's quite small in the 20 space. You've only got little chunks of time away from them. So I could manage that alongside my own diary and what would work. And I literally did that for 6 months. I was the head coach of the under-20s. I took them to France. We played like a mini Six Nations equivalent. And then the head coach for the Red Roses came up. And I was not wanting to be head coach, but I equally wanted to show how I think passionate I am about the job, about working with England rugby, but equally how serious I am about being a coach and how I wanted to show that to people. And I always think interview experience at that kind of level is phenomenal for your development. So why not put your hat in the ring? And to be fair, the more people I spoke to around doing it, they said, absolutely, go for it. So I did. I got called to interview. And again, it was a fantastic process, really tough, one I hadn't experienced before. So I'm super glad I did it. And then it was really interesting. I got back from France with the 20s and got called to Twickenham House, and I was like, oh, because we didn't win.
Well, no. So you thought it was a telling off.
It was a performance review, but it wasn't. It was them asking if I wanted to be the attack coach.
Amazing.
Yeah, that they had a head coach in mind, but they wanted to build the team around them, and that they were impressed with what I did at interview, but equally what I've been doing with the 20 space, and would I be interested? And there I went straight away, bang, into the Red Roses.
So was there ever a point where, because it sounds like it's a bit of a meander to get there, and like not, was there ever a point where you said, this is absolutely what I want to do? Or like when you were 18, could you imagine that this would be what you were doing now?
I do. I actually have a perfect moment for you, Kirsty, which I think you're going to love. And I've done many of interview and I've never mentioned it. So
this is good. The
this is really good. My brother was massively into rugby. He played it at school. I was furious because we didn't have it at school.
Yeah.
And my parents wouldn't let me. Then my mum was like, no, you can't play that. Stick to netball. You're brilliant, etc. So, but we did go to Twickenham to watch England play several times, courtesy of my dad, which was brilliant because my parents don't have a clue about sport. They haven't got a sporting bone in their body. So it was really interesting. But because of my brother's rugby passion, we went to Twickenham. And I absolutely loved it. We had these seats behind the sticks. I could see how the players were moving. I could identify the space. I think this is where my coaching started to develop. And I must have been 13 or 14. And they panned to the coaching box. And I looked into the coaching box and I was like, oh, who's that? And my brother's telling me, going, how do you not know who that is? Da, 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 da. So I quickly learnt who they were. And then I said, I reckon I could do that one day. And he literally laughed his head off, as a typical older brother. Said, don't be ridiculous. You will never be in there. I said, I will. I said, I will 100% be there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I hope he has never heard the end of it.
He hasn't. He hasn't. And that's what's great, because then my first game at Twickenham was against Ireland in the Six Nations, and my kids were mascots.
Yeah.
Which was
I remember
amazing.
seeing the photos
it was honestly one of the best days of my life and my career so far. And my brother texted me to be like, I knew you'd bloody do it. You're so stubborn and you love proving a point. I knew you'd get there, but it was like, congrats type thing. So
well and truly proved that point.
Yeah, I did.
So you are one of very few women in coaching. As you've just said, you were the first woman to coach a national men's team. Why are there so few women in coaching? What should we be doing about it? How does it feel to be the only woman so often?
Yeah, do you know what? There's more coming through, which is brilliant. I think a lot more from having played and then turning into coaching opportunities that come along off the back of their careers, which is great. Yeah. However, we're still dealing with a quite significant gap, which I think has been highlighted even more so recently. And it's not just it's a male-dominated sport, but it's a male-dominated system. And the approach to the system isn't changing. So when there's a system that you can't even navigate properly as a female and work out where your opportunities are for development, for the appropriate support, for the opportunities that might actually create one step towards the ultimate goal, then naturally you can't work out how to enter. And I think that's where the problem is. So it's great that we've got coaching courses and we're opening more doors for people to qualify. But actually, when it comes to top end coaching, experience is everything. You have to have worked your craft in multiple environments. And that can start from off field as well as on field at different age groups, different genders, different formats of the game. So I truly believe we need to provide a bit more of a roadmap as to what that could look like, but different roadmaps for different people based on their circumstances, their entry point, their journey so far, but also where they would like to end up. Where do they find their strengths lay best? Because you've got multiple females who have been in the PWRs, the Women's Premiership, who have been head coaches and DORs, but as it's turned professional, they've exited and they've not had the right support around them. But equally, the job changed when it became professional and they weren't on the field as much. They were dealing with contracts and negotiations and processes and planning, and that's not where they wanted to be. They wanted to be on the field. So I think, again, we need to redraw the blueprint of actually what women's rugby looks like, not just rugby, because it's very different. We're still at very different stages of growth in the game. And I think it's important that we make that like really explicit as to what it's looking like, where we want to go, but equally where people want to be in the game, because there's so many different avenues for them and there's so many different opportunities.
And I think it's really important. We have in finance, there's a massive gender disparity as well. So a lot more men. And I think one of the really important things is showing how you can do something as a woman and balance it with the rest of your life, with children, with all of those things, but also how you can do it in the way that you want to do it. You don't have to do what everyone else has done before you. You can do it in your own way and still be successful. And I think we need those role models who are putting themselves out there and just doing it. And then the next generation of women coming through can see it and go, well, actually, I don't have to follow a man's path to do this. I can follow Lou's path to do it. And I like the way that she approached it. So I'm going to, and actually for people to see, particularly with your role, like you do have to go away with the team, but you balance that with the kids. And I should probably explain, we know each other from school. So we've got, my daughter is in the same class as your youngest son. And I see you at school loads. And so you found a really good way of balancing that. And I think showing that to women is really important so that they can go, well, it doesn't have to be just that. I can have that and that at the same time.
Yeah, it's so important. I think people at the school still think occasionally I do sport as a hobby. I don't think they fully appreciate it's my job and full-time career. But no.
I do think that sometimes in your introduction, because when we first met and I said, oh, what do you do? You said I coach rugby. And I went, oh, great. That's really interesting. We had a chat about it.
Very casual.
And then it wasn't until I saw pictures of your son as a mascot that I went, that's amazing. How did he get to do that? And that's when you told me who you coached.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's the difference, right? Because you want to be talking about this way of being able to do both.
Yeah.
Like I completely agree with you, regardless of what career it is and what industry, because multiple industries are demanding, not just sport, performance sport, etc., but like you said, the financial sector.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that more women talk about it.
Yeah.
Amongst different groups of women and in different circles and different environments, because then we're sharing conversations around what we've done to navigate those foreseen barriers before.
Yeah.
And how we're making it work. And I'll be completely honest, it takes a village. So I'm going back to the old days of how we used to bring up children and stuff in huge communities.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same now. Like I'm so happy I moved to the area we're in now with our children, because the community in that school and the parents around us are so supportive of women working, but equally the different types of work that we're in and what that could look like. There isn't judgment of, I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit still, but there's not
that we see.
No, exactly. But it's actually celebrated.
Yeah.
And it's like, can I help you? Can I do this? Can I do that? And that just makes it so much easier, because knowing that my kids are healthy, happy and secure and loved is all I need for me to be able to go do my job, because I don't want to do it as a sacrifice to being away from them. I'm choosing to do the job I do.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic for my kids to see that.
Definitely.
They can be parts of it. There's parts of it they can be part of that I think is great, and to have them fully involved is amazing, because then they equally, as boys growing up to be men, will understand how important that is.
Yeah.
For women to do as well. So again, that's more people in the generational trend coming through that get it and can support it and help create the system change that we're trying to do here. So yeah, I think the more we talk about it, the more we see it, like you've just said, and we can celebrate it, even if it's like one gradual step change towards where we're trying to go. Yeah. Then the better for future coming through.
Definitely. And I mean, I've seen how proud your kids are of you and what you've achieved. Let's talk a bit more about coaching the team. So obviously, you were the attack coach for England. You're now the attack coach for USA Eagles. Talk to me a bit about the coaching infrastructure. Like, how does it all work? Is it a village? Does it take a village to coach a team as well as look after our kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where actually being a mum has been a huge, crucial part of my journey, and recognizing you need more people to support you in achieving the top end of everything that you want to do. You don't just want to half do it. And when you're going into a World Cup and you're the home team in a home World Cup, the pressure that can create within an environment and and a team that has been so successful
Mm.
can impact it quite significantly if you're not pulling on every single individual in that team and you're going on that same journey together. And I think being the attack coach, and I'm like super excited when we score a try and the build up to that, and that's the bit that's celebrated, but there's so much more to it. And I think recognizing the intricate detail and parts of what we do to bring about that final performance is huge. And we're a really strong team. I mean, you've got a defense coach, a set piece coach, you've got the attack coach, which was me. You've then got specialist coaches that come in to support real specific technical elements of the skill that's needed. And then we've got our head coach who basically helicopters around to ensure that we're all moving in the same direction together. And it has a huge piece around the culture of the team, because that's a bit that if you take your eye off it, it's something that can slide and cause pretty bad influence on certain individuals, and you can start losing people along the way, especially in a bit of this cooker pot of pressure that could be perceived with a home World Cup.
There's so many things I want to ask from what you've just said. So leading a team under that amount of pressure, how do you do it? How do you hold them together? Like, you've got to push really hard to achieve what you need to achieve, but you also don't want to push so hard that everyone falls apart. How do you find that balance? How do you drive success in that pressure cooker?
Yeah. So I think the pressure cooker is a big piece, and it's actually saying that we just address the elephant in the room straight away. It's a home World Cup. Yes, we're the home team, and yes, we've come off the back of this success. Done. We don't need to talk about it anymore. We actually now focus on what we need to be doing right here, right now, and we take it one game and one day at a time. And I think doing that first was a huge piece of it, because otherwise the outside noise and distraction around it creates more perceived pressure, etc. And it starts talking about the wrong things. Whereas really what we should be talking about is us and what we need to be doing every day.
Yeah.
And that's the huge cultural piece that comes with it. So having a set of really strong values that everybody buys into, that then guides and pushes our behaviors, and then having these standards of those behaviors that if you want to be a winning World Cup team, you need to exhibit every day, and that everyone has bought into that and is agreeing to do that is a huge part of the journey. And it's tough because, like you said, you're together for a really long period of time.
Yeah.
I think the one thing of a home World Cup, the only home advantage you can have is that you are home and you're near to friends and family, because I think that touch point of home life and the fact you're still human and have a life outside of this sport is huge, because that allows you to decompress. It allows you to, when you're off, you are off. You can switch off mentally, emotionally, mentally, and physically give yourself a chance to reset, to then come back in. And when it's on, it's on.
Yeah.
And then you're really focused. You're straight into the values. You're living them every day. We don't just talk about them, we do them. And that's a really important piece to it.
And coaching that environment, I think when you talked about the values, there must be times where it slips, where something's not working, where someone's just not feeling it, and you can feel that system. And I think when you've got teams working together under really intense environments, it can be quite fragile, that it just takes a little slip for it to feel like it's falling apart. Have you ever seen that? How have you managed that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the really important part of human behavior to understand, is that as humans, we're not perfect. And we will have moments or even days of not feeling ourselves, where our minds take over, because they're powerful things, the mind. And especially when it comes to, I think, kind of pinnacle points of a World Cup around selection and who's playing in that team and who's going to be then potentially, and you're starting to think forward towards semi-finals, who's going to be on that roster, etc. We start to get distracted again.
Yeah.
But that's natural.
Yeah.
And understanding that could potentially happen, but foreseeing it and having a plan around it is really important. So not just as coaches and not just as a head coach were we leaders, but we actually had a really good leadership group.
Yeah.
Who all led in different ways. So some are very verbal, very good at conversations, very good at just like a touch on the shoulder, seeing if someone needed to be like heard, or if someone just needed a hug one day because things were difficult. Some are fantastic leaders on the pitch. I mean, they lead by giving everything they've got, and you can just see it in every drill, every game you play, they're literally just giving everything to the team. And when someone does that next to you, you want to do the same.
Yeah.
You want to give back. And that's that family piece to it and the relationship piece that's so important. I mean, even in our everyday relationships, sometimes we won't be at 100% of our energy, and we need that other person to pick us back up and give us some of their energy because we're not quite feeling it today.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to operate in a team. You have to remember we're humans before athletes, before coaches, before the title that we have on our, do you know what I mean, on under our name when it goes out onto that team sheet, that actually there's a human there, and there's naturally going to be some form of, I'd say, even it could be stress. Do you know what I mean? It could be actually something's happened in life because again, we all have lives outside of this. So something could have happened in the family. They could be poorly one day, etc. All these things. And knowing that and appreciating it and having empathy with it and recognizing that it's not just one person. We are a team. We are a family, and we are here for one another is the biggest part of it. And one of the biggest values of the Red Roses was bond. And we worked really hard at it. And in order to bond with people that you might not necessarily bond with outside of sport is a crucial piece to it, because you have to therefore trust that person will be there for you as much as you will be there for that person. And that's what gets you through those moments.
And the really weird thing about national sport is that's bonding with people who on another pitch you're playing against them.
Yep.
So you're trying to beat them, but then suddenly they're your teammate.
Yeah.
And that's quite an unusual dynamic, I think, with all national sports.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? It's really important in the coaching group as well, because equally we're trying to be the best we can be for the players, which means we have to challenge one another. We can't get too comfortable. We have to be pushing one another's thinking, one another's tactical preparation, the way we're approaching each day in our planning as well. And we can't take it personally. We have to take it from a place of care in order to push one another to be the best we can be, to be the best for the team.
That's not easy though, to
and
not
it's
take
not
it personally.
easy. It's not, especially
even when you know that rationally. It's hard to do.
Absolutely. And especially when you know you're working really hard anyway.
Yeah.
And as it gets closer towards the end of the tournament, you've been there a long time. You're tired. It's starting to catch up with you. And it's hard not to think about the aftermath of everything as well. So to stay in the moment, and I think we were really good at staying present and staying where our feet were each time we had a conversation.
Yeah.
You emotionally want to drift out of that. And what was really good is we just had this checkpoint of be where your feet are right now. What's important right now? What do you need to get you back to here, rather than where your mind's just taken, your emotions have just tried to lead you to.
Yeah.
But understanding that that's natural.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't be in this game or in this sport if we weren't competitive, if we didn't think we were pretty good at what we're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's really important as well.
Yeah. That's really good. So World Cup, final match. I can't imagine the nerves going into that final match, like so close to that gold medal. How did you feel? How did the team feel? Tell me what it was like.
Do you know what? I think from a performance perspective, we actually truly believed that the girls had it.
Yeah.
We really did. Yeah. We had prepared so well. I mean, physically, the players were in phenomenal shape. To have got through that many games to where they were, we were pretty injury free. They were playing and performing for 80 minutes and backing it up. And mentally and emotionally, their energy was fantastic. And we had a really good week up until that final. And just in terms of like natural conversations around a coffee bar, you can tell where someone's really at, just about like, how's life, how's the family, how's this, how's that, etc. And just not even talking about rugby necessarily. You can really feel where someone and sense where they are.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed great. Everyone seemed really excited about it, which is how it should be. It should be exciting. You should find absolute joy in those moments of what you're doing, because that's why you're there. And if you don't enjoy the moments when they're gone, you're not sure what's just happened.
Yeah.
As well. And you don't fully appreciate the week that we're in right now of a World Cup final.
Yeah.
I think what was really important is that we didn't talk about, and I'm glad it never really became a thing, the last World Cup. Because there were many of those players who were involved in that loss against New Zealand at that last hurdle. So It actually was all about this team right now and this moment. And honestly, the energy when we got off the bus, the crowd, just the whole stadium with people leaning out of the turnstiles and everything, just shouting for the Roses, was electric.
Yeah.
I've never felt anything like it in my life. That gave me more nerves that I didn't fall over or do something silly in front of that many people. Yeah. Seriously, that like was one of the things. But actually, in the warm-up, everyone was very calm. Everyone was exactly where they should have been. It just, I mean, a couple of balls went down in some of the drills and stuff, but no one was worried. No one panicked. No one shouted at one another in a way that you would suddenly think, oh, so that person's not quite settled. We might need to check in there. Actually, they clicked. And literally from one of the first plays that we'd planned for really, really well, I was like, I literally turned to our forwards coach and I was like, we've got this. And we did. And we actually got to sit back and really, really enjoy it. Like, it obviously,
that's brilliant.
Rugby doesn't go to script. It's a very complex sport.
Yeah.
But the way we planned tactically, and credit to the head coach as well, just for how he pulled the strategy and everything together around it, was great. And we had Canada. We had them probably in terms of every point of pressure we could put on that team, we did.
Yeah.
And that's the best we've played against them today.
Yeah. So you reach the absolute pinnacle. You get your shiny gold medal. And instead of basking in the glory of the Red Roses, you decided to take on a new challenge. So talk me through, well, what you're doing now and why did you decide to leave the Red Roses and head over to the Eagles?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I think no one really prepares you for what happens after a World Cup. I mean, we'd mentioned it obviously, and we had sports psychologists in and we had a team of people around us. And there was a lot around decompression and making sure you really do switch off and everything. And I think especially when you've got family at home and little ones and you're straight back into being a mum.
Yeah. There isn't time for decompression.
No, there isn't. And the reality of what you've come out of suddenly gets like forgotten almost straight away. And I'll be honest, I came out and I was pretty numb. I was pretty numb. I mean, we tried to party for as long as we possibly could. I'm not going to deny that.
I saw some of those photos on Instagram.
Yeah, we had a lovely time. And it was great. And the players got celebrated. The team got celebrated in the way it should have. It got acknowledged for achieving something phenomenal. And that was fantastic. And I think actually the final itself, how many people were there selling out Twickenham, just the way that whole event and the World Cup itself was celebrated in women's sport is the bit that I will remember forever.
I mean, that I think that was a bit of a game changer for women's sport.
Huge.
It was like the whole nation was behind the Red Roses. It wasn't that it was, the fact that it was women's rugby was almost irrelevant. It was, everyone was so proud of the achievement, so excited about what might happen, in the way that should have been happening for years, but it felt like a bit of a game changer. Yeah,
it was a defining moment definitely for the sport, but for women's sport, again, it's one of those that following the Lionesses' success, etc., as well, that we're just building on every opportunity. But I think like recognizing that is something that I will always remember. But personally, coming out of it and thinking about going back, I was very numb. I was a bit like, right, what next? It'll be about the future, it'll be about the pathway, etc. But I'd been in the pathway.
Yeah.
So I know it was short and brief, but it was 6 months, etc. Whereas actually I was going, if one thing England have proven now to the rest of the world is you need to invest.
Yeah.
Because when you invest and you get it right, that's what you achieve. And with Australia hosting the next World Cup and America hosting the one after that, I found it as an opportunity for me to actually go back into the development of the game and help another nation to achieve that kind of success with the right investment. And that's where I started going. So I had conversations with people in World Rugby and I said, look, I know it's just happened, but what next? I'm up because we cannot lose this ripple effect or this trajectory that women's sports go in. We have to capitalize on it now. So where's the money going? Who's doing what, etc. And that's just how the conversations came about. And it's tricky because when you have 2 kids, you can't relocate really without uphauling them. And
Yeah, it's
do you know what I mean?
massive
And I've just
decision.
spoken about the village being so important, the community. So I need that.
Yeah.
So that was a tricky conversation. But actually, the reason I knew it was USA for me is because the first conversation I had with them, they said, well, we know you've got your 2 kids and therefore, and that was the opening sentence.
Yeah.
They'd acknowledged it from the start.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a latter pickup piece.
And it wasn't
of what about the kids?
Yeah. And it wasn't like you can do this in spite of the fact that you've got the
Yeah.
kids. It was they are part of
absolutely.
the deal. The
and if we're
package.
talking about capitalising on women's sport and where we want the game to go, why not go to a country that's got a ridiculous population size, love sport through and through, like what they put into the sport as a nation is huge.
Yeah.
And they've got a home World Cup in 8 years. Why not go be part of that journey?
And obviously you've left the Red Roses, but they're still obviously still playing.
Yeah.
Do you look when they're playing? Are you watching? Are you thinking, don't do that, do this instead? Or how do you feel when you see them playing?
Yeah, it's. Do you know what? I struggled initially even putting on USA kit as a completely different logo. It was a very bizarre feeling. And I think the hardest part of watching the Red Roses for me emotionally is because I have really good relationships with a lot of the players.
Yeah.
Like we've been through a lot together and with the staff, etc. So it almost feels like you've left that family and gone to a new one. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like I have relocated.
Yeah.
Completely. But that's probably what it is, because there's phenomenal amounts of care there.
Yeah.
And that's how I lead in my leadership. That's how I lead in my coaching.
Yeah.
It's all underpinned by a huge point of care for the individual.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. So I smile because they're doing so well. I watch bits and I'm like, oh no, why? Oh no, shit, like won't be happy with that one. And I almost know what they're thinking, do you know what I mean, in advance and stuff. But I've had to create a bit of separation because I've got this new family. And the Red Roses will always be a huge part of my journey. Yeah. Massive part. And I see them, like I still live in England, so I see them all the time and I'll be around PWR. But I've got this new family of amazing humans equally who want to do as well as the Roses, if not better, and try and create another step change towards, do you know what I mean, this level trajectory that women's sport's going to go in the world. And I want to give them everything I've got. Yeah. And you can't do that by hanging on to that past, but by massively respecting it, appreciating it, still having points of contact with a few of them, which I will treasure. Like, they had a huge bond with my kids as well. They were so good. Like, when I say they're a family, honestly, I used to take the boys in, they'd disappear. They'd be gone because they basically had 32 other mothers looking after them or playing games with them. Or, do you know what I mean? So that they've got those memories and relationships forever. I'm sure they will do. And so, it's my time to do something different, but it is hard. I think you will always do that. But it's the same with men that I've coached in the past and the sevens players that I've worked with and stuff as well. I see a few of them. I mean, Andy Christie's at Saracens now, but I coached him at Harrow School when he was, I think, yearlings, which is their first or second year at Harrow. And he used to frustrate me so much because the potential in him was huge, but he almost didn't care. Whereas now he's thriving, but we walk past one another in St. Albans and he's like, just gives me the eyebrow and the little look of like remembering the days when I used to be like, come on, like you've got more. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think that's great. And that's sport.
Yeah. I think also as a coach, like you don't always know the mark that you've left on other people. And I think that's really nice, knowing that there will be lots of people in that team who are like, yeah, but when I do this, I think of Lou because she used to always tell me to do this, or, you know.
Yeah.
I think the massive challenge for you is going to come when England play USA.
Yes, and it's coming up in the not too distant
Is
future.
it?
Yeah, so we've got a new global series, which means more Northern Hemisphere teams get to play Southern Hemisphere teams.
Okay.
So we, as USA now, I'm saying we.
That's weird, isn't it?
It's very weird. Are hosting England in New York.
Amazing.
Which will be brilliant. Yeah. And it'll be really interesting because I think what's great about the new team and new coaching group, etc., is I'm very much going in and being myself, but I'm not coming off of the back of, well, we did this and we did that in the Roses. I'm treating it as a completely brand new platform. Yeah. As a huge opportunity for something different.
Yeah.
And equally, my style and the way I deliver always evolves with the athletes.
Yeah.
It always evolves with the team as we build the relationships.
Yeah.
So it can't be the same, and it shouldn't be either. They are the USA team, they're the Eagles, and they should be doing it their way.
Yeah.
And I'm supporting part of that journey.
So when you look back, and I'm going to exclude the gold medal from this. I don't know if you would say the gold medal anyway, but excluding the gold medal, when you look back, what's the thing that you've achieved that you're proudest of so far?
That's a huge question, that, Kirsty. Well done. Well done.
I always have one or two questions where I stump people. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, you've done well there.
And you can't, and I'm just going to caveat, don't say your kids either, because that obviously is.
Yeah. It is that day though. So that game against Ireland, that was my first Six Nations.
Yeah.
It was my first home game at Twickenham. I had got to a point that I really wanted to get to in my career. But the actual most exciting part of what happened on that day was the players.
Yeah.
We'd worked really, really hard. I'd come into a space where I don't think the players were operating to their full potential or had full belief in what they were capable of.
Mm-hmm.
They had come off the back of losing their final in a World Cup. They had a brand new coaching team. There was a lot of change for them, etc. And we actually it was challenging, but we had loads of fun in going after something completely different. And I was a new voice for them. I was working on new ways to achieve what they've been working on for years, but actually bringing some excitement to it, making sure they enjoyed it, etc. And you saw that in the way they played. Literally everything that they could have done came off because they enjoyed it. They almost were in flow. People talk about being in flow, but you're not even thinking about it. It's almost just happening. And every single try that they scored came off the back of them capitalizing on a moment or opportunity. Some of the stuff was definitely set piece structured and we planned it. Some of it, the players just literally connected.
Yeah.
And they were just in full flow when they were.
Zone.
Yeah. And it was so good to watch.
Yeah.
It was all, I was jumping out my seat clapping half the time because I just thought it was brilliant. And you could see the smiles on their faces. And that's when they started doing the cowboy stuff. And it was brilliant because I said, here are these personalities. They're recognizing their true potential or what they could be doing in this sport, because I genuinely think there's individuals and there's more of them coming through that are redefining the way the game can be played. Ellie Kildun being one of them. So much fun to work with. I'm sure we'll stay in touch. She's a creative ball of energy, but she's equally the most intuitive player I have ever worked with. You don't want to overcoach her. You want to allow her to see the game the way she does and go after it the way she thinks is right. And that's where those moments of brilliance come out of.
I think it's like unlocking the potential and then letting people fly. And I think, I'm not quite coaching a rugby team at this level, but when you're managing a team in business as well, it's the same. That it's almost like, I equate it to conducting an orchestra. That like sometimes you've got to pay a bit more attention to the flutes and sometimes the violins are a little bit out of tune, but just when it just works and you just have to stand back. But it's getting everyone to the point where they know what they're doing. They've got the self-belief, they've got the right equipment, the right tools there. And then and almost like you can't define what's shifted. It just clicked. And then it's, performing as it should. So that's looking back. Now, looking forward, what's the thing that you're most excited about coming up in the future?
So again, a new group of individuals, all with exceptional possibilities, I think, in their careers that they've not quite recognised yet. And with a home World Cup coming up, I want to see these players really push themselves in multiple ways on the pitch, really utilise the fact that they have huge athleticism behind them. A great coaching team that can support them now in the skills, the tactical stuff, the technical elements that they need, and really have some fun doing this game, because rugby's still quite new and quite young in America. So they've got an opportunity to redefine that game in America and really get a huge following behind them, a huge audience to inspire future generations coming through. So I'm most looking forward to when they start to recognise that. And we've already had a glimpse. So they pushed New Zealand to, I think it was 19-14 at half time. They've never had that scoreline.
Yeah.
And the expressions on their faces of what was possible is what I want to see again and again. And I think it'll come.
And that's how they'll build the self-belief, isn't it? That
Absolutely.
like when you start to see, hang on, we can do this.
Yeah.
Well, it's an incredibly exciting future for both them and you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to hearing about it and watching some of the matches. I'll be watching the England-USA match on TV, not live, sadly.
Fly you out.
I mean, I'd love it.
Little trip
I can
to
pretend
your
to be
follow-up podcast.
your sub coach that helps you out. Although your team probably shouldn't listen to me. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really, really interesting to hear you talking about what you've been doing and what you've achieved and how you approach it all. I think for me, the fascinating thing is so much of what you're saying is completely relevant in the sporting world, but actually also in the corporate world for any team. So it's certainly given me a few things to think about. But I'm so grateful for you joining us. Thank you so much, Lou.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, and thank you so much for listening to me. And I'm glad you've seen how it can translate into different industries, because I think that's the biggest part of everyone's journey is recognizing where you can pull on a bigger network to support the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for listening today with Rebalance Earth. If you like the episode, please like, comment, or subscribe, and we hope to have you here again soon.